Welcome back to On the Record. Before we went to the break, we had a little bit of discussion in regards to paid advertising.
Media.
You know, we want Brian and anyone else willing to come on our show to also discuss the same thing. I mean, we always try to get his, come in and have your say, and you have your say, and that's the best way of doing it. And I think that it's better if you can come and sit down and talk about it, opposed to just keep writing it. And we talked about anonymous letters, and it happens, and it happens now when you read anonymous letters. And I was reading something, and I can't remember, I think it was the Gazette, maybe in the last month or so, sometime in there, that one of the papers ended up getting sued for an anonymous letter from a politician, no doubt, because of the information was inaccurate and it was damaging to his family. So I just wanted to put that out there about anonymous letters. That, it does. I mean, if you can't own it, don't write it.
Exactly, and that's why anonymous letters have almost disappeared totally in this community. Even if the post office was the biggest culprit of that, a post office could let you put something in the mailbox and you don't have to sign it. I think their policy has changed now, but the post office was one of the most guilty purveyors of bad information.
As long as you have 1,700 copies.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They paid a postage.
It's a good business, I guess.
But the role of media, though, is to make sure, independent media is to make sure that the information that goes to the public is accurate and balanced. People can have different points of view. People can see the same issue from and still be telling the truth, even though they might contradict each other, because they just have a different perspective and a different point of view. Doesn't mean one side is lying. Or one side, one is right and one is wrong. Both sides could be right. They just have see it from a different way.
And with that being said, I've been following an email for, I guess, the last day or two from yourself and Ross Montour, and I want to mention it because I had asked you off camera, and one of the reasons why I had asked you off camera, and I said I wanted to ask you on camera because I'm going to ask him the same thing when he's on camera later on today, is that if I'm having a conversation with anybody in regards to what the subject or topic is, and I think that it's going to be a confidential conversation, or it's going to be a conversation, I guess, I don't know how you want to put it, but it comes just between the two of us, and I don't feel, or I don't think that it's going to go somewhere else, and then all of a sudden it goes everywhere else. And Ross sent me the trend of the email, which is today 9 pages, and also sent it to several other people, and I won't mention their names. Were you aware that that happened, and would you agree that your conversation should go that way?
No, I think when Ross sent me an email and asked me some questions, I answered him, and it was Ross is my friend, and I assumed that the emails were between me and him. I realized partway through that he was running back and forth with Brian Goodleaf and saying that, well, Kennedy says this, and now Brian says that, and he was going back and forth, and he was. I knew that was happening, but I didn't think that he was sharing it with other people. And I'm very disappointed in that. And I think people should remember that when in emails. Emails are not like phone calls. Phone calls disappear and unless somebody records it. And by the email,
deniability is higher, right?
That's right. I don't deny anything I say. When I'm careful about what I write and what I say. So I'll defend anything that I write. But I'm disappointed that my material to Ross was shared with others. Ross should have asked me first if he could share it, and then if I said okay, then that's fine. But not asking and sharing it, I think, is unethical. I'm very disappointed that Ross would do that.
And then there was some things in there that I wanted to ask you about, and I respect the situation and the reasons, and I chose not to ask you some of those questions. Some of them have to do with what we're talking about, but I won't quote anything from there, only because I agree with you that regardless of who you were talking to, that I think that if I was in that position, I would feel the same thing, is that I would be disappointed that that would happen. And in the future, my conversations with that individual would be little to none. And that's only me, because, I just don't agree with that. But it happened, and it's there, and I read the trend, and everybody has their opinions. It's like the letter from Brian and Sheldon, his letter. So how do you get by that? It's like emails are emails, and do we put disclosures on our emails when we're talking to people who we consider an acquaintance? It's tough.
Yeah. People, like I said, be careful when you put anything you put on the internet is public information. It can go anywhere, and don't think there's nothing. Don't share any secrets. Be careful what you say. And people have been Sheldon Kagan got in trouble because he put something on the internet that he shouldn't have put on there, and that's why he realized it was unprofessional, and he resigned, and we accepted his resignation. And he's still fighting that. He tried to withdraw his resignation.
According to him, he didn't resign.
Well,
but
but if he wasn't resigned, then we would fire him. So take your choice. Yeah.
And you know what? And that's a pissing contest too between the board and him. And as much as some people think it's news, it's going to happen. But coming down to it comes to, I guess, an us against them type of a thing, and some of the comments that Brian had made in his, and I refer to a lot of that because that's where this whole thing is going. And this week, I guess you're putting something in the paper, the way I understand.
The Eastern Door put the ad in, and not once did they contact the radio station or the board to get our point of view. They had in the following week they had a nosy and a page 9 and an editorial. The Eastern Door did not contact us at all to get our piece. So for 2 weeks they had the story and did not try to get the other side. Now the third week, the Eastern Door now has asked for an interview. So we'll be giving an interview. It should be coming out Friday.
Okay, so that's what I mean. So there's going to be something, I guess, to, again, where does it end? Where do we go from here, though?
Well, I guess really it's a matter of trust. Board members run because we are trying to do, I guess, really what's best for the station in trust for the community, and community members have the chance to say, well, I think this person might do a better job, and I prefer to put my X there. It's really simple, and if you trust those people that they're doing everything with the best intentions and trying to do things for the community, then you should be okay with that. And the other thing is, you said people are saying. Neither Kenneth or I are very difficult to get hold of. I'm usually in my front yard mowing the lawn, and after work. And Kenneth I run into at the store all the time, and we're around, and we're not unapproachable, and people have asked, and certainly people have come to the door and knocked on the door and said, what does this mean? And I've had people come up to me in the restaurant, but just ask. You're saying like they have all these questions, then just ask. You'll get answers. Certain things can't be said publicly, and there's reasons for that. And I'm glad you're bringing this up now, because certain things about financials, for example, we've always been reluctant to put that out there, because I know I saw the editorial from the Eastern Door saying, there's a complete lack of transparency and this and that. You know what? K103 has been around for 30 years. I don't recall them ever putting out a financial. And since about 1985, no one has funded that place. It's made its own money, and it's struggled, and sometimes it's made some money. Other times it's been a struggle. Right now, with the way media is, two radio stations just closed down. Two, big ones closed down. The Gazette just folded its Sunday edition. Media is having a tough time these days, and K103 is no different. And so we're getting hit by that, but we don't put things out there because if you see in the business world, if somebody puts out that, let's just throw a company out there, CN is having a tough time and this and that, then the investors get nervous and this and that. we're trying to steer a very difficult ship right now. And we have made a lot of inroads, and we're struggling through a tough time, but the books are always done. Every year, as a matter of fact, as we speak, we're in the middle of our annual audit. We're audited every year to make sure everything is done according to standard business practices. And the records go back, I don't know how many years, 25 years, but they're there. Every year there is that audit. So it's just that we're not going to put that and put it in a mass mailing, because we don't have that kind of resource to put out a document like that. But anybody can ask for it, and we'll show it to them.
With that, we're going to take a break though, and we'll continue it right after these messages.